Joining me here on Revelator this time is the one, the only, the band Larkin Poe, Rebecca and Megan. It's nice to finally have you on the podcast.
Hey, we're happy to be here.
It's been a while. I've been a fan of both of you for quite some time, and I think you guys are fantastic musicians. You guys are fantastic live, and we'll talk about some local shows that you have coming up. But first off, Rebecca, happy belated birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just turned the big 2-8 yesterday. I'm entering my prime.
Okay.
My prime is upon me now, I'm told.
Nice. Did you do anything to celebrate your birthday yesterday?
Actually, I got into a little car with my partner in crime, with Megan, and we went and we sold some clothing over at Buffalo Exchange, over off, the downtown area, which was very exciting. Had a massage experience together. Basically, Megan and I just did another day in the life of Larkin Poe, just hung out.
Right on. Well, that's cool. That's a good way to do it. I think, birthdays as you get older, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but, as you get older, you kind of enjoy just the simpler things, as opposed to going out and, getting smashed on whiskey, which, I'm also still a fan of occasionally as well. But, now, Megan, do you have any birthday stories from your guys' youth that you can share? Like birthday parties or gifts that you've swapped with one another? Anything stick out there as far as like maybe odd gifts or anything?
Odd gifts. I will say we've spent a lot of birthdays on the road. And one kind of funny birthday was that Rebecca turned 21 in Ireland. I did.
Oh, nice.
So that was
how did that turn out? Was
See, the comedic punchline of that story is that because we were there working, not a drink was drunk on my 21st because we had a show to play. And especially in a country like Ireland where, beer and drinking as a general rule are, I feel like, a national pastime in a great way. Yeah, so it's just typical, straight edge fashion, just turning 21, very low-key, humdrum. But no, I do love it. Megan and I are less than 2 years apart, and so there's many memories of us as little children. Our mother would always go all out on birthday celebrations, 101 Dalmatian parties, luau, birthday celebrations. So we were lucky as kids.
Yeah, I love those things. My son just recently turned 7 last week, and we didn't do the big birthday party. He wanted to go go out and just have some fun. So we hit Dave & Buster's and hit the art store and the Lego store and just kind of made a day of gaming and Legos and stuff. And then he had a blast. It was so
that actually sounds
nice,
like
thank you for
my ideal birthday party. Like as a 28-year-old, I'm totally down with that. Let's go.
Right. Yeah, I had a blast too. I was like, video games, Lego store, art store. I was like, you are definitely my son. There's no doubt about it. But well, I appreciate you sharing a little backstory there as far as birthday is concerned. Now, this has been, this has been a crazy time for you, obviously with the new album, which I want to talk about in a moment. But you guys just got done, doing some shows with the legendary Bob Seger, which is kind of bonkers to think about. How's that phone call go with your agent or your manager? How does that come to be? Does that you get a phone call in the middle of the day? Hey, guess what? You guys are going on tour with Bob Seger. How's that conversation go?
Exactly like that. I guess it's been 2 months that we've been out on the road with Seger, and we just had our last show out in South Dakota just a couple of days ago. So it was real bittersweet. But we actually toured with him for a brief minute in late last year, fall of last year. And then he ended up canceling some of the dates due to, I think, a surgery or some neck injury of some description. So we got to pick up the remaining dates, that just went down. But Bob Seger actually found us on Facebook. Megan and I have had a video series on YouTube that has gone viral called Tip of the Hat. And he saw one of our videos, liked it so much, and this is a story that we heard after the fact, but liked it so much, called our agents and said, hey, I want your girls out with me. And so they called us and said, well, Bob Seger asked his team to ask us, to ask you if you'd come. And we were so excited to say yes.
Right. Yeah, you don't say no to something like that. Like, yes, of course, I would love to. I know do you get a lot of, I don't know how much interaction you get with him on the road for the time you're out with him, but with the interaction that you did have, he seemed like, he seems like a pretty genuinely down-to-earth guy. Does he give you any advice as far as career is concerned? For, a guy's been, doing music for, 40 years.
He, didn't lay any advice on us, but his main, I think, aura that he exuded backstage, which I really, really appreciated was optimism. Every time we would come rolling into the venue and he'd come off stage from his sound check, he was open arms, just really excited. So great to see you guys again. Basically how he is on stage, big grin, you know, his arms are always open, and he just kind of exudes this like happy quality. That's how he is off stage as well. It's just really magical to see. He's got such a presence.
Very cool. It's good to see it, having that positive enforcement fight, but someone you look up to musically even as well, to have that, reinforcement out there on the road. I'm sure it's pretty humbling experience.
Yeah, and I think also just sort of aspirational, to want to be that way when, we're 40 years deep into our career and can share that with other artists that are coming up. It's really special. We cherish him.
Well, you guys have been out with Bob Seger. You guys did some stuff with Keith Urban last year as well. And I want to say maybe 3, maybe even 4 years ago now, you guys were opening up for Elvis Costello as well. Which, I mean, you guys have, in your young as young musicians in your young career, to have those tours and everything under your belt. What does that mean to you when you look back? I don't know if you even had a chance to even kind of look back at some of those things, but when you do, like, what do you think about when you look at those opportunities that you've had in such a short time?
Gratitude. I mean, one, of course, there's a lot of work involved because you're given these opportunities and you really don't want to blow them. So for Megan and I, it's been taking them very seriously and wanting to make sure that we show up and can bring something valuable to the table. But, so much gratitude. I mean, the memories that we've made countless times with Elvis Costello over the years, some of the fondest memories, getting to be out on the road with Keith. We had some of experiences that we'd never even dreamt of having. You're suddenly, in Toronto playing on, a stage with this award-winning freaking celebrity of a musician to a crowd that is really engaged and excited. Just feeling very thankful that we have been able to leap through so many just cool moments.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can imagine just I imagine one of these days we'll hopefully get together and hear some of these stories in detail. It's hard to fit all those in a short amount of time here, but fast forward a little bit. Obviously, the album came out the first part of November 2018. Venom Faith. Congratulations on the album release, by the way. It's fantastic, and I'm just saying that it really is a fantastic album. It offers, I think you even talk about it in your press release as well. It's kind of the yin and yang a little bit. It kind of shows the grittiness of the band, but also kind of maybe the vulnerable parts musically as well. Was that something that you went into the studio kind of thinking about? Like, hey, we have some songs that, kind of show our gritty side, and then we have some maybe more vulnerable stuff too.
Absolutely. I mean, going into the record making process, our biggest goal was to give our fans a very authentic look at where we are in this moment as artists. We didn't want to have too much pretension or artifice or anything that would distract from, a true look at our souls, as it were. And I think, like we mentioned off air, the fact that Megan and I decided to self-produce this record and pitch the record previous to Venom and Faith, that was a huge leap of faith for us as artists. And we really kind of got, in my mind, that courage, a big old dose of that from our fans who asked, for a record like that. They wanted a vulnerable record. They wanted a record, just Megan and myself. So for us to be able to have moved through that process and come out the other side with a record that we're really proud of, it just feels great.
Well, it's really good. Do you have a favorite off the album? I know obviously you've been playing it a little bit with these opening sets and stuff, and you have the headlining show coming up here on the 20th in Nashville. But does it change for you nightly as far as your favorite songs from the album play live?
I would say it does change over time, and we haven't gotten the opportunity to play out all of the songs from the record yet, so we are excited to be working in some new ones from the record. But for me, I think that Bleach Bottle Blues is one of my favorites to play live. It's just such a funky little song. I enjoy playing that one. For me, I would have to say I think California King is one of my favorites, and like Megan said, we haven't got to play it too much, because it's a banjo-driven song, and whenever we tour internationally, I'm not allowed to bring like 18 guitar cases. So sadly, the banjo had to stay home. But Exit In, we're gonna be breaking out that banjo for folks.
Fantastic. Now, I know Taylor Bryant sits in and plays a little guitar on the song Mississippi, I believe, on the album as well. Is there a cameo by chance at the Eggs In show in Nashville for Mr. Taylor Bryant?
Quite possibly. Old Tyler Bryant is an amazing slide player, and he's also my fiance, so he gets special privileges when it comes to guesting in a show.
Now, he got obviously guest on the album. Congratulations on the engagement, by the way, Rebecca. Now, is there a chance of maybe you and Megan maybe guest appearing on the Shakedown album maybe in the future?
Oh, that's a great question. Potentially. You know what? You should just send a little message to them. See if you can get us a guest.
I will. All right.
There you go.
All right. Well, they're on my interview list for this year as well. I know they're going to be on tour with oh man, it's really escaped me. Blackstone Cherry, right? I believe. Yeah, Blackstone Cherry, which is a fantastic band live too, and I thought that was a great pairing. And they went out with, which is my personal favorite band, that's Clutch. They were out with Clutch this past winter as well, which I was excited for them to be on that show. They're great, another great Nashville band.
Love Clutch.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites.
But of course, next season.
Right. Now, obviously, we're talking about some of these headlining shows, kind of expanding the set list a little bit. I've been fortunate enough to see you play headline shows in Nashville, and I've seen you obviously do opening stuff too. With the expanded set list, you guys are doing a few more headlining shows in the U.S., and then I believe this spring you guys are going to be taking international. I think UK, Germany, Australia, a bunch of other places in between there. Now, this is not your first time playing overseas, right?
No, we have had the great privilege of doing a lot of international touring, actually. But this year marks, seminal experiences. We've never been to Australia. We've never been to Singapore. Then we're going to play a headline show in Japan. So there are some markets that we've never actually been to perform, and I'm really excited for us to take Larkin Poe, to Tokyo. Oh, my gosh, cannot wait.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast. Now, as far as equipment, obviously you mentioned not being able to take 15 to 20 guitars with you. When you travel overseas, do you end up renting equipment, or do you end up just kind of scaling back what you take overseas for you?
Kind of a bit of both. It's a balancing act, because there are certain things that you couldn't even dream of renting. There are certain guitars of mine, and obviously Megan with her Rickenbacker slide, those cannot be rented, but we'll make exceptions on certain things. A lot of amps and a lot of drums and stuff. We'll kind of rent abroad as the case demands. But we try to bring as much of our own stuff as possible, because sometimes your stuff sounds more like you than something that you might rent from a music store.
Oh, completely understandable. Now, Megan, this is for you. As far as playing slide, did you always start playing slide, or what kind of steered you that direction of playing the slide guitar?
I started out on violin and piano. All three of us sisters were classically trained. And I tried to pick up guitar and mandolin and banjo. This was after we went to a bluegrass festival for the first time, and we ended up quitting our classical lessons cold turkey and kind of diving right into roots music. And I heard a dobro being played. And saw a dobro being played for the first time, and I was really smitten by the vocal quality of the instrument, and that's, it was no turning back from there.
Very, very cool. Now, is there an instrument that either of you don't play that you would like to learn to play?
The sousaphone.
I'm sorry, what is it?
The sousaphone.
Oh, I guess I am not.
It's
okay,
a
all right,
big,
yeah, all right.
It's a big ass wind instrument that I think would be amazing.
Okay.
Neither.
Right, yeah, I'm not familiar with that
instrument.
instrument.
Wind instrument. Yeah, never played any wind. Only string instruments. That would be a fun discipline to take up. We'll see though. We'll see what the future holds.
Well, maybe you can incorporate. I know you mentioned the YouTube videos earlier, so that seems like something maybe you could sit on the YouTube channel and find a cover of one of those instruments and partake in it that way.
Absolutely.
Now, what is the strangest request you've received for YouTube videos? Because I know you guys have done a bunch of covers and some fantastic covers of musicians. What are some of the strangest requests you've had from fans as far as covers are concerned?
That's an interesting question. Honestly, and I'm going to be frank with you, people will request songs that are way outside our wheelhouse if we get requests for like pop stuff, like Britney Spears, or we get, requests for metal stuff. And I'll be honest, we're up for it all. None of it feels too strange to me, because when you think about the language of music, it expands across every genre. You can pick up like Toxic, Britney Spears, one of the best pop hits that's ever been. I would love to do a cover of that. So for Megan and I, it's more about the inclusivity. Like we are up for it all, baby. Bring it on.
I dig it. Right on. Well, coincidentally enough, I don't know if you're familiar with the band Local H. They actually covered that song, the Britney Spears song Toxic. I don't know if you've ever heard it or not, but it's definitely an interesting rendition of that song.
Oh, man, Nickel Creek. If you haven't heard Nickel Creek perform Toxic, you got to check that out, too. So good.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. Well, I guess that's really all I have for you. It's a very busy time for you, as always, heading into the tour season. Is there anything else that you can allude to as far as plans for the back end of the year once you come back from the European tour and doing Tokyo and Australia and all that stuff? Are you guys going to do any festivals, or maybe work together and maybe do a headline at the back end of the year?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of festivals over the summer, and there will be a lot of touring plans in the back half of the year too. Hopefully some more U.S. dates. We are going to Singapore. Yep. We are incurable road dogs. So if we haven't come to see people yet in their given city, just hold on tight. We'll be there soon. And we always advise people just to keep an eye on our schedule, because new dates are getting announced every day.
Fantastic. Well, we'll have links, obviously, on the website at revelatorshow.com, so people can find, the YouTube channel, your website, and all the socials and everything as well. One thing, and I'll let you run here. What do you enjoy listening to while on the road traveling from city to city? What's the selection process as far as travel music is concerned?
For me, I am obsessed with an artist called Chris Whitley. He is my biggest go-to listen when I'm looking for something to kind of chill out my brain when we're traveling. A lot of traditional blues. Megan is our classic rock queen, so she'll be pumping some classic rock records. But really, again, anything and everything. And if people have suggestions, they got to hit us up on social media to let us know what we should be listening to.
Fantastic. Well, again, thank you both for the time here this afternoon. It's always a pleasure to see you perform live. You guys are a fantastic group. One of my favorites, not just locally, but going today in the music industry. Keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate the time. I really do.
Oh, it's so nice to chat with you. Thank you for setting this up, and I hope that we'll see you at Exit In.
Yeah, I will definitely be planning on attending the show on the 20th. I encourage everyone listening in town in Nashville to make your way to the Exit In, one of my favorite venues in town. Living in Nashville, you're kind of in a bubble because there's so many venues, unlike maybe some cities where it's an endless amount of venues, but Exit In is definitely one of my favorites.
Well, we can't wait to see you there.
Again, Rekha and Megan, it is Larkin Poe here on Revelator.